Good morning, brothers and sisters. It's 5/23/20. I want to start out with an article titled World as We Know It Is Gone. The locusts that are swarming the Middle East right now are said to be 20 times the normal size of a locust. Millions of pigs are being destroyed, with many being used for compost. In the UK, Europe, and the US and Australia, they had a disastrous 2019 for the farming industry, with 2020 set to be much worse. Hundreds of millions of pigs died in the 2019 due to disease, doubling the price of pork in China. According to the Bank of America Merrill Lynch, the 2020s are set to be a decade of dramatic economic and social upheaval. We will have another a billion mouths to feed. Locust swarms are currently invading the poorest and most food insecure people on the planet. The locust swarms are expected to increase fivefold by June. COVID-19 outbreaks at slaughterhouses have led to a backup of animals, and CoBank estimates that 7 million animals may have to be destroyed in this quarter alone. In 2019, the U.S. witnessed unprecedented crop failures. Endless rains caused the late planting season, and then snow and bitterly cold temperatures turned the harvest season into a nightmare. It was our worst agricultural year in the history of the nation, and across Europe, they were losing 1,000 farms a day. In Australia, due to those mega-sized bushfires and drought, they lost 60% of their crop productivity. And then I came across a couple of other articles to go with this about this food production and possible famines coming and stuff that some people are seeing getting started and aided by this COVID-19 virus and slowing and shutting everything down. Grand solar minimum. Our sun has gone into lockdown, which could cause freezing weather, increased earthquakes, and famine. Scientists say the sun is currently in a period of solar minimum, meaning activity on its surface has fallen dramatically. Experts believe that we are about to enter the deepest period of sunshine recession ever recorded, as sunspots have virtually disappeared, and the increased volcanic eruptions we have been seeing recently will contribute to lower freezing temperatures. And then finally, coinciding with this economic, because as a result of shutting everything down, we're actually in a worse spot right now than we were in 1929 in the time of the Great Depression. And then coincidentally, coinciding with that, is another U.S. Dust Bowl that's possible. The U.S. could see a repeat of another devastating Dust Bowl of the 1930s. Researchers say it is more than twice as likely to happen now than it was during the Great Depression. Due to the rise of greenhouse gases, scientists say that the heat waves that caused the Dust Bowl in the 1930s happen about once every 100 years, but increased carbon emissions have reduced that to every 30 to 40 years. They cause the deaths of people and livestock and crop failures. And then I had two scriptures that I got to go along with this story. One about the crop failures, which is in Revelation 6:6, and that's that chapter that talks about the four horsemen of the apocalypse riding. And to answer a question that a person asked me recently, are the four horsemen of the apocalypse riding right now? And the answer to that question is no, but the fact of the matter is that the four horsemen of the apocalypse are going to be riding before too much longer, as the church age ends and then the 7 year tribulation period, time of Jacob's trouble, begins. So Revelation chapter 6:6, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Now the oil and the wine that's spoken of there, I read a little commentary on that scripture, and it was saying that there will be oil, there will be wine available, but they'll be so expensive that only super wealthy people will be able to afford them. The common working person, of course, wouldn't. And you'll be sitting there working an 8-hour shift or something to buy a loaf of bread. So that's just an example of showing you how much more scarce food's going to be during that 7-year tribulation period. And we're beginning to see this now with the virus. And then secondly, I got Revelation 16:8. And the fourth angel poured out his vial on the sun, and the power was given to him to scorch men with fire. So again, too, in that tribulation period that's coming, the angel's gonna pour his vial out on the sun, and it's gonna be given to him to scorch men with fire. But right now, we're seeing a grand solar minimum that's going to contribute to freezing weather and increased earthquakes and famine. So we can just see that as we get closer and closer to this period of time, all this Matthew 24 signs just become more and more intense and unprecedented. Even recently, like about 4 days ago down in Mexico, there was a hailstorm and somebody did a video on it and recorded it. And then they took some of the hailstones and they put them in a bowl. And then they took one of the hailstones that fell and they held it in their hand. And the size of the hailstone was the size of a cantaloupe. So I don't really know what the weight of that would have been. But that's the largest hailstone that I ever saw. And that was about 4 days ago in Mexico. And then they also had, I think, 4-inch hail stones that fell in Texas just a few days ago during a storm. So we're seeing them larger and larger. But again, in the time of the book of Revelation, they said that they will be the size of a talent, which that weight equals 75 pounds apiece. So again, we're seeing them getting bigger and bigger as we get closer to the time of the tribulation. So I'll see you again as soon as I can. I did have some health issues this week with basically allergy, I think it was, because we got grass pollen out here and dandelions and stuff like that. And that's why I wasn't on for a few days. But I told the Lord if he wanted me to get back on here, then he had to make me well. So he answered that prayer. See you again soon.